Happy New Year. Um, so today I actually wrote a few songs because I was just feeling inspired, but I also wanted to start applying the technique where you write 100 bad songs before you get to the good ones. You know what I mean? And not saying that everything I write is gonna be bad or trash or whatever, but to stop hindering the creative process, a lot of the books that I touch bases on, um, they just talk about creating and how you just need to go for it, and you will inevitably have some bad ones before you get to the good ones. And I think that's a crucial thing to remember when it comes to creating, especially as a songwriter. We're always critiquing, and our biggest critics are ourselves, you know what I mean? But like, ultimately, if you constantly go through and you're like, oh, that's not a good idea, or that's not going to do anything, or this is like, you if you constantly keep that nagging sensation, it's going to deter you from wanting to like continue the writing process. Not to mention, you won't know what actually is good to you unless you continue to work it out. You know what I mean? And one thing that one of the books that I was reading, this is like a couple months ago, so I have to actually go and find that book. But it talks about basically don't worry about, the grammatical errors, anything like that, spelling, nothing. Just write 5 to 10 minutes, even as little as 5 minutes a day help. Because it basically trains your brain to just start thinking from a writer's perspective at all times. And that's what I've been applying. A lot of the times I'll write for 5 to 10 minutes, and if I can go longer, that's great. But if I can't, I don't force it. Another big key factor into just creating is to just write whatever comes to mind, and then later on go through and revise it with whatever it is that you want to change. And oftentimes I used to find myself just sitting down and not knowing what to write because I wanted to talk about something specific, whether that was, what I was experiencing or what I was feeling. But truly, if you really want to like experiment, try writing from like different perspectives, or try writing, a fictional song based on someone who isn't even a real person. But the goal is to just create and to make sure that you are essentially training your brain to just make it habitual. So that way, all you have to do is just sit down and you could just get straight into it. Another one of the books, which I'm actually going to put in another video showing the current books that I'm working on reading, dissecting, and, just grasping the fundamentals to help me along with this process. It basically just gives you like, what do you call it? Dynamic maps. So in a previous video, maybe like 1 or 2 videos ago, I had done a song map. And that song map was actually like custom to how I wanted it to be, because there are song map examples. I just didn't, go exactly how they did it because I wanted to do something that was more effective for me. And so I also found a book that I'm currently reading, based, it's about arrangements and, how artists and engineers and all of those people go about making song arrangements. And they talked about dynamic mapping, which helps you kind of centralize your, not only like your idea, but it allows you to figure out, okay, so the first verse is going to have a lower energy compared to the chorus, and then the choruses are going to have big high volume energy, right? And you just like map it out like that, and the intro is like very low, and then you go up for the verse, and then you go up higher for the chorus, and you go back down. And I think that's like a really useful tool. And the book that I'm reading has like some blanks. And let me see. Did I print them? Let me. Okay, so this is like what one of the, I don't know if you can see that. This is literally the first hook and then drops into the verse. And then it climbs back up, goes to the next hook, and then goes back into the second verse. And it just literally maps out all the energy levels. So that way you can figure out exactly, what you want your song to do. And I think that's like a really brilliant idea. And so I'm literally using that in addition to the song maps I created. Let's see if I don't have it out readily available, but one of the song maps that I made basically talks about the central theme, and then I go into detail about what each section I want and want to accomplish. And so for one of the verses, I had basically my overall theme was love, and then for one of the verses, kind of build up that story, do the little details, and then get into the chorus, basically introducing the idea of what the connection was and what it basically encapsulated. And then from there I get to the second verse that goes into more detail. Then the second chorus backs that up as well. So I kind of been trying to focus on making everything cohesive. But I'm still a beginner and I'm still navigating, so I'm not being overly critical at the moment. But once I start to get the hang of things and start to create things more and more, I will slowly but surely make sure that everything connects, is cohesive, and just makes sense. Because I've also been learning how to use DAWs, which are digital audio workspaces, and I've been working on that so that way I can, whatever I have up here, I can bring it into reality. That's been pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, the best part about this entire process is just learning how to do everything and then being able to create things the way you see it, the way you hear it, and just using this so far, I haven't actually mapped out anything that I've done personally, but just by reading about it, it actually makes it so much easier to understand okay, this is what I want my song to do, and this first verse I want the energy to be a good amount. But then when we get to that chorus, I'm gonna hound it in and I'm gonna make it exciting and fun, and and it also allows you to keep the pacing and not, overdo certain aspects or elements. And then they talked about musical transitions, and I was that's actually really cool if you think about it. There's so many different little nuances that go into a song, especially a song that you love, that you don't think about. I used to think it was just a beat here, a beat there, fill in certain spots and you're good. No, it's way more intricate than that, but it's not in a scary sense. It's more intricate as in oh, that's really cool, I didn't even know that was there. Oh, without it, the song actually sounds kind of bare, and it just gave me a newfound appreciation for music as a whole, and for the artists themselves, because a lot of them, I would say a good chunk of them, if they, play their cards right, they have a hand in the creative process. And I can truly appreciate a lot of them for their own input for their music. I know I saw a few videos of Ariana at the time. She was recording certain songs, and she was wait, I want to redo that, or what if we add this? And I just have newfound respect for people who can just create something that they envisioned and then brought it to life and just made it just theirs. And just I truly appreciate artists even more than I did before. Also, not to mention excuse me, I'm trying to combat this cold before it gets worse, so that way I can just get back to grinding, So I also have, this is one of the dictionaries I have, a rhyming dictionary. I have another one, and I'm gonna actually show it again in that other video, but it's bigger, and I recommend getting one of these because it helps you just create um like it just helps you refresh things and gets people thinking like, oh wow, that's so cool, like I didn't even like expect those two words to, play off each other. Like it's a really cool tool to utilize. So I recommend this. I recommend doing the dynamic maps. I recommend doing a song map. Anything that you can use as a tool to not only, you know, map out the pacing of your song, but to also make sure that everything's cohesive. And yeah, and honestly, and I recommend writing every single day for at least a minimum of 5 minutes. Even if you, one of the exercises that I had to perform for, I wish I knew what that book was called. I gotta find it. It's somewhere. It might be on my phone, but it like basically says, wake up the first thing in the morning before you check your phone, before you do anything that contaminates your mind, basically, and just write before you're in your feelings, before anything. That way you can have like a fresh start, and you can also just like basically how the book explained it to me is like you want to go first thing when you wake up before you check your phone, so that way you're not contaminating your ideas with someone else's ideas, or so you're not operating on an emotion that say you want to write a song about love, but then earlier in the day someone hurt your feelings, and so now that's all you're fixated on, and you're not gonna write it to the best of your ability because you're still fixated on something that happened. So the book recommended that you basically just wake up first thing in the morning. One of them was like a 10-minute exercise. The other one, at least like 5 minutes. You just write whatever comes to your mind, and then it also gets your brain into that mode where you can just sit down and just write, and you don't even have to like think too much about it. And that's what I did the other day. Like I sat down, I wrote 3 songs, whether they were good or not, didn't care. I was just sitting down and just writing, because that way I can sharpen my mind for the next time I do it. And I'm not gonna lie, like before I took a long pause on like writing music and everything, I literally would sit down for 2 minutes and already have like a bunch of stuff to go off of. And that's why like I was really good at like writing titles, and I came up with 100 titles within that. I believe I said it was like somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes. And it was like, and they weren't just like regular titles. They weren't just like my broken heart. Like, no, they were like, oh damn, like how'd you think about this, or where did this come from? Like some of them were like generic titles, but others were like, oh wow, okay, I could see a whole little story around that. And then I would further, when I had time, go in and select the ones that I really liked, and then I'd pull those aside and be like, okay, so I want this song to tell this specific story. I want this song to focus on these emotions. Like I was getting closer to my goal, but I ended up just putting it on the back burner because I don't know, like I guess I wasn't inspired at the time to like pursue it fully, but now I am. I don't care what anybody thinks or what they say. I don't care about if I want to do it or not. Like, no. I need to always stay focused and always make sure that I'm sticking to, my program, my regimen, etc. And one thing I will say is that by me focusing on this whole process and just enjoying the process, it made it so much easier for me to sit down and just write. Just write. Like, I literally wrote 3 songs in the span of like 30 to 40 minutes. Just like random. And I didn't want to stop writing. And my hand wasn't cramping, so I kept going. And it was just so much easier just to focus on what I wanted to focus on versus being like, this is such a chore, this is such a task, I don't want to do it. Like, honestly, it's just all about getting into the right frame of mind, and just sticking by it, and then working through that first initial, like, I don't feel like it, or I don't know if I could do it. Because once you work past that, it becomes a snowball effect, and you just enjoy the process more and more. And that's why I'm also like training myself on how to use DAWs, so I can just go ahead and create my own vision that I have, and just enjoy the process 100%, versus like only enjoying like 50% of it or 25% of it, and allowing somebody else to, enjoy the other 50 to 75%. Like, nah, I'd rather do it myself until I get a team, because not only am I going to know how to assist when they're like, when I'm communicating my ideas to somebody else, and I could be like, oh, well, this is how I want to do it, or whatever. And then you can show them. And then on top of that, like, it allows you to become more involved in the process. And honestly, like, I love creating. And it's just like very therapeutic at large. But I hope this video inspired you to at least, take a look at a rhyming dictionary. Start writing. Even as little as 5 minutes a day can make an improvement. And then try to write as soon as you wake up in the morning, before you check your phone, before you do anything else, before, someone kind of messes up your like feelings or something, before, I guess you can say, like, contaminate your mind for the day. Like, just try to wake up and write, like, first thing in the morning. And I'm telling you, it changed my life. It really did. It changed the way that I started writing stuff. And then because I did it more frequently, it allowed me to tap into my writer's mindset a lot faster as well. So I just hope this video inspired you to take action somewhere. But yeah, Happy New Year again, and I hope you enjoy the whole music process the way I do. Like, it honestly is such a beautiful thing. Thanks. These are the books that I currently am reading that have been an immense help. Writing Melodies, it shows you basically what chords go with what notes best, and then also how to create music to those. That way you're not just writing random stuff. And then as for the addiction formula, it breaks down hit songs. It breaks down how you can achieve the same level of addictiveness that your favorite pop song has. And another book that I abide by, basically, is the Rhyming Dictionary, because it allows you to switch up your style and be able to play on words and all kinds of things. It's really great, especially if you're learning how to do rapping. It's great for that too. And then I always have like a notebook or a composition book, so I can take notes on things that I find very important or useful, but I can't remember it right away, or whatever the case. And Writing Better Lyrics, this book, I definitely recommend it, because it has a bunch of exercises, and it just touches on a bunch of things that can really make your songs stand out and pop. Like, I recommend all these books.